And I'm Paul Campion, I'm the CEO of TRL. TRL is a research software consultancy business which has been around for a while.
In London, a team of expert scientists, engineers and specialists has spent nearly a century working with their clients and partners to shape the future of transport. From building the world's first smart mobility living lab in London to bringing predictive AI into traffic control, TRL keeps setting global firsts in transport.
So I'm Binu Jacob, the Managing Director and CEO of Experion Technologies. Basically, Experion is a product engineering company that does build products and platforms for customers who want to have their IP. So we build IP for customers.
Powered by 1,650 experts, Experion's AI native engineering has transformed over 300 products worldwide. Together for 15 years, transforming roads into intelligent ecosystems. TRL and Experion, where data learns, decisions get faster, and travel gets safer.
Hey, good morning, Paul.
Hey, Binu, how are you?
Very good, thank you. And how are you? Great to see you today.
I'm having all the fun they make. What could be better than this?
Okay.
So, Binu, let's start by introducing ourselves. You go first.
Yeah, so I'm Binu Jacob, the Managing Director and CEO of Experion Technologies.
Yeah. And I'm Paul Campion, I'm the CEO of TRL. TRL is a research software consultancy business which has been around for a while. Maybe we'll get onto that in a second.
Yeah, almost 100 years.
Yeah, and coming on for that way.
Yeah. I mean, so I think I should probably talk about how we all got started together 15 years back.
Well, I'd be really interested in that. I mean, your company is a bit older than that, not maybe that much. You founded it, didn't you? But TRL's been around for 92 years. But I've only been there for 6 or 7 years, and our relationship companies goes back longer than that. So tell me how it all started. Yeah,
so it is like we have been in the industry for the last 20 years, and the TRL Experion relationship is about 15 years old. Mm-hmm. So it is all about, so since we are building products, we're kind of looking at who's got an old product to rebuild, re-engineer. So we are all in the modern technology world. So that was 𝗁𝗲𝘁 was the CEO of TRL talking about 2009-10. Mm-hmm. And I met up with her and said, we build products. And then we had a product which was, TRL had a product which is like running in 300 locations on crash data. Mm-hmm. And all over, from UK, Jamaica, all over the world. Yeah. Primarily to help governments bring down the accidents by looking at safety, looking at the crash data and so on. So, 300 locations. It was old technology. Yeah. And I think it was VB or something like that. Mm. And so we were asked to see what would it cost for building this product. And we were quite early. We didn't really understand. And TRL was also not really into building software products anyway. So when we saw that, we felt that it was quite a big product. But then we had somebody by the name Michael Johnson, I believe, in TRL, who said they only had 55K as a budget. Mm. Because TRL was full of scientists and they didn't really know how software is built, and that too built offshore. America knew the game a lot long ago. So we were told we only had 55K budget, and then do whatever you want to do with it. So that was it all.
That was interesting. Yeah. Well, but that's interesting because it brings out so many of the themes that have dominated our relationship, the reasons why our relationship has worked, and the reasons, perhaps more importantly, why it's good for our clients. So TRL, 92 years old, it started as the UK government's road research laboratory. As you say, full of scientists. And TRL is very proud to have created a lot of the very basic infrastructure that we see around us today. Things like the zebra crossing was invented by TRL, which, when I was told, I was flabbergasted because I never realised it had to be invented. Yeah. So much of this stuff, of course, had to be based on solid research. It had to be designed, and it had to be designed with thought for safety and effectiveness. And that was really where TRL came from, and is a deep part of its DNA to this day. Yeah. Yeah. So that innovation in safety in asset infrastructure is something that TRL's always done. We privatised about 30 years ago. So in many ways we're a different organisation, but that thing goes on and on and on. But what you have described is the collision of of two different ways of thinking about innovation and change. There's the 90-year-old TRL science-based innovation, which is directly affecting not the bricks and mortar, but the asphalt and curbstones of our environment, and the innovation that you founded Experion to deliver, which is the digital innovation, what we now see software high-tech innovation, and there came a time when those two things had to come together to really transform the world in the way that we both want to happen. And
and I think there was a big purpose also behind this re-engineering of the map into iMAAP. That is because in 2012 the World Bank I think the United Nations said it's not going to be through pulmonary diseases or AIDS that's going to kill a lot of people, but it's going to be road accidents that's going to kill a lot more people. And so there was funds by the World Bank all over the world to invest into something called the Decade of Action, which was like 2012 until 22, I believe. And that is when it was very timely when we got this discussion with Sue going on to rebuild MAP into iMAAP. Obviously, it was a huge effort because it's a huge product. I mean, we had 18 months of effort by 21 people to build this. And then we didn't really have enough, budget. TRL didn't have enough budgets, but we said we'll still invest because we knew the Decade of Action is going to change a lot of things. And precisely what happened at the end of it, Abu Dhabi government contracted TRL for implementing MAP, primarily 20% savings on accidents every year. So that is the kind of vision behind that, and many countries followed after that. So that was a big success, and that's where TRL really found Experion innovation really working.
That project, that product, of course, has continued to be developed, hasn't it? And is still changing outcomes around the world. I mean, sadly, over 1.25 million people are still killed every year on the world's roads. But a year or two ago, together in ห์𝗵𝗴𝗶𝗁, we provided that software and the expertise which enabled them to significantly reduce their road deaths, didn't they? So to this very day, we're still chipping away at that problem with this technology.
I think the Director General of Police went on air and he spoke to the press saying that 20% savings on accidents. I mean, that was a real statement because I don't know if you know హిమాచల్-ప్రదేశ్, it's a very hilly terrain and a lot of accidents happen. And in that context, if iMAAP could save lives, I think that is real testimony to what...
So look, that was a great start to the relationship. Where did it go from there? Because, as you say, that was some tentative steps from TRL to explore different ways of exploiting technology. Our paths coincided and then aligned, but the relationship's grown considerably, both in terms of size, but also in the ethos, the way we work together, hasn't it?
I think that happened because technology, digital was coming in quite significantly soon after that. So we are talking about different initiatives that happened. Obviously, TRL had its initiatives in the Middle East, trying to work with a lot of African countries and also Middle East countries because they all wanted technology. And that's where I think a lot more projects happened. We had other similar initiatives, like we had driver safety projects working with Shell in Brunei and so on and so forth. So I think ultimately what happened was the savings on, I would say the safety division within TRL had grown significantly because of this initiative. And that's when TRL management, I think the CEO who came later was 𝗨𝗏𝗏𝗏, and he felt that we should continue this and then expand this more, for doing more projects. And that is how it all. I think there have been about 30 projects that we've done together during the last 15 years.
And I think the nature of those projects has changed, hasn't it? Because it started off as a very, if you don't mind me saying so, transactional thing. You said, well, I've got this amount of budget. How much code can you write for this amount of money? But as we look to the things that we're doing together now, the collaborations, for example, around iRoads, which helps people to manage road assets. It's much more co-collaboration. I mean, at the peak, we've had over 100 people, haven't we, in your team working with our team to deliver projects over years.
Probably more, I think, because iRoads itself was like 120 odd people working for 2 years to build that. And that's probably the best in technology today in the world.
And well, no question, I think we're jointly extremely proud of that. And this marriage of our evidence-based domain knowledge with your technology expertise and our ability to come together to serve the client has been transformational. In the UK, of course, national highways use our iRoads product to manage their the national road network, don't they? And that same solution is proving very attractive to other places. So, Malta, for instance, we were able to deliver extraordinarily rapidly to the client's requirements because of the seamless way we work together.
Yeah, and I think winning awards as well.
Just very recently.
In Greece, I think
Well, in Greece, about a month ago, last week, we won an award, didn't we, for Malta? So yes, it's recognised in lots of places. Yeah,
and I think what excites me, Paul, is when I hear customers talk about it. So I was in New South Wales talking to the Transport Department. They were telling me, because TRL is known worldwide, every transport department knows TRL, and that's how, building the first driverless car in the world, zebra crossings, reflectors, all of that. So everyone knows TRL. And what the New South Wales, Transport Department person was, the head of transport was asking me was, can you save 10% of the cost of maintenance, road maintenance for us? Can this product? So I said, I'm very confident TRL definitely would vouch for it. But what he said was, if your product is able to help save, 25 million of the 250 million investments that go into, so he says 25 million is a price that he was kind of willing to pay if he could save 250, because they're talking about, I think 60 billion or so is the kind of investments that are put in the transport. So I think that's the extent of, power that the product could deliver.
Well, that's absolutely right. And I don't think it's widely understood just how big this industry is globally. And that means that huge amounts of resources are dedicated to this, because transport's an enabler of people's lives, isn't it? It helps people to be employed, to live fulfilling lives, to access opportunities, educational, social, family. Without the ability to get around, none of this can happen. And so it's a massive, massive industry that underpins everything we do. But the dirty truth is, it has not been getting better at the rate at some of the other industries that get written about a lot are. So we've got phones in our pockets, haven't we, that are miracles of technology, completely unimaginable 40 or 50 years ago. The truth is, a lot of the basic technology in highways hasn't changed much for hundreds, or I won't be so rude as to say since the Romans, but the reality is it's a much, much more conservative, slower moving business. And yet the benefits it drives, the opportunities that we can bring with these technological solutions are absolutely massive. And in my personal view, should get a bit more attention than they do. Yeah,
I think it's all about adoption, because I think the transport and the people that use technology or software, I don't think they are using the product to the extent that it can deliver the results. So I think adoption is the key. Getting them to be fully aware about the features, functionalities, because it's a huge product. It's got a GIS underneath, which is defining a lot of those things. But I think that it's a longer journey, I believe, but I think we'll get there.
I think we both believe, don't we, that some of the emerging technologies, we were talking about AI, some of the emerging technologies maybe can be the key that unlocks this problem, because we have all this data, we have all this capabilities, but at the moment it's extraordinarily technical. The systems, the products are designed for people with civil engineering degrees. We love those people and we want them to be as effective as possible. But if some of the information could be more widely, more easily available, if we can make it more accessible, help people to dig in there and understand what's in there, perhaps we can unlock some of the benefits of that much more widely. So I'm very optimistic about what we can do in this collaboration, bringing together the deep domain expertise of our team with the extraordinary technical expertise of your team. I think this is the way that we can maybe make progress here.